Hello? Hello? Hello, everybody. It's me, Niku, after all this time. I'm here with a not so exciting room reveal because you just don't have everything in the room yet, but but boy, do I have space. It's very exciting. And I'm eager to see how my setup works in terms of just, I don't know, stream speed. So we'll see, because I've noticed something a little funny, and I'll swap over. I'll swap over so you can see me. Hi. Hello. I have the big, okay, look. I'm in a much bigger space. I'm not competing with like a bed right next to me or anything. So that's cool. Hi everybody. Hey, it's me. And I'm a little farther away from the camera because of just how I rearranged some stuff. I don't have to have everything so close. I don't have to have it so forward anymore, which is nice. I like having the desk speed. Um, space, desk space. Anyway, yeah. So I have some things adjusted a little bit. That desk is so fast. It's so fast I can't even see it moving. Um, but anyway, I'm downstairs on like the very first floor of the house because this is like a rec room that we're in. So it's supposed to be big. I might sound a little more echoey. I'm gonna try and fix that. I have like my little sound panels up at the top right above me to help that not be so echoey. I feel like I can hear myself echo like behind me. So we'll see. We'll see how that happens. I'll get to look back on everything and see how it is, I suppose, post stream. But for now, you don't notice any echo? Okay. That's fantastic news. There isn't an echo. I can hear it in the room, but as long as you guys aren't hearing it, then that's all I really care about. Um, so great, perfect, awesome. Less work for me. But also as I start to get stuff on the walls, at least it'll kind of, it's not being a problem, but I can hear that it's like the echo of an empty room, and I know that that will kind of go away after stuff starts getting up in places. So, um, anyway, look, I can do this. I can stand up. I can move around. Isn't that crazy? I can go back here. I can crawl under if I wanted to. Hey, how's it going? I can you probably can't see me down here, but I can do it if I so desired. I can crawl under. I can do whatever I want. Super cool. Anyway, I have this up because there's literally nothing behind this screen. It's totally empty. And it's like a fair amount of space. There's nothing back there right now. So, you don't need to see like the great empty expanse of a room with some shit here and there behind me when you can have this perfect little blue rectangle. And see, I have so much space. This before was this way. It was up and down, like long, because I had such a limited space. And the way I had everything set up is it was more angled, my camera was more angled down. And so I really needed that like length, but also I wouldn't be able to fit this long-wise if I wanted to. But I'm pretty sure if I go over here, right, this would be like my usual. See, look at this. Look. Perfect. I don't have to be fucking cramped in with a thing right behind me, roasting alive, you know? I can just Oh, video games. I can do whatever I fucking want. So, very exciting. We were planning on getting like a bed that'll go back there. Uh, Mostly because it's just useful for like being a guest room kind of a thing. And also, sometimes I'm sitting around and then I go, ooh, my tummy hurts and I want to lie down and I don't want to have to go up the stairs to do that. I could just go right back there. So anyway, that hasn't happened yet, so there's nothing back there. We're gonna put some curtains on over here. It's not like it's like, wow, it's so bright. If there's no bed, hypothetically, where would baby cat sleep? Here's a problem. I want to play some music. That's not the problem I was going to talk about, though. Cool. There we go. Nice. Little background. Okay, so here's the problem. Baby cat loves being down here. He loves being in this room. He loves that there's stuff happening. He's like so fucking stoked about it. The only problem is he has a routine and he goes to sleep at like the same time. Same times multiple times throughout the day, like every day. Okay, he has his food, he takes a nap, he gets up, he's up for a while beforehand, has his food, takes a nap, and like he has a very reliable schedule. So he's been very excited about this room being opened up down here, as well as I am in it. It's one of his favorite things. But there is nowhere for him to lie down and like settle and go to sleep, and he wants to so fucking bad, and I keep trying to provide him options. I have this blankie. Look at this cute blankie. Cat got it for me. Well, kind of for us, the house a little bit, but like Keyblade blankie. It's a very soft little plush blankie. I tried putting it down in, I have a little bookshelf over here. Very exciting. I'm going to show you. I have a little bookshelf over here. I was going to put all of the, you can see the character files are down there. I also have a bunch of manga and novels and stuff. Not all of them, I haven't moved them all down, but like they're there. So I can have them on hand for inevitably when I go, now hold on. And I can just reach down here, boom, pull it out. Anyway, I had the blanket like in the shelf to try and give him a space to sleep. And he was like lying in it, but he couldn't get comfortable. He couldn't go to sleep. And he was fussing so much. He was getting up, he was getting on me. He wanted to nap, he wanted to just go down, but there was nowhere for him to do it. And so, once we do get a bed in here, like he will sleep. We were also discussing getting him a little cat tower. He already has one. He has one. It's really tall. He loves it. But maybe, I mean, he gets everything he wants, and, you know, we love him dearly. So he might get a second one that we can put somewhere back here so you guys can see him. But otherwise, like, he's down here more than he has ever been. You're going to see him more than you have before, because he loves being down here. Right now, he's upstairs because he needed to settle down and go to sleep, and I was down here, and there was nowhere for him to sleep, and he didn't like that, so he will show up. Also, there's paper on the ground behind me, because that's his paper. I'm covering it up. Get out of here. There's paper. There's a big paper. You can only see like a little bit of it. I promise it's there, and it's really long. It's like packing paper. That's his paper, and he likes to lie on it, so you'll be seeing him even more than before. If a dedicated cat is to his routine, my cat's only constant during the day's mealtime. Yeah, well, he also eats meals on a schedule because he has a little feeding robot. You know, a robot that feeds him. But he has a very just predictable routine that we just know. We're like, oh man, baby cat, it's like 4 or 5 p.m. You should be down. You should be asleep. And then once it gets like, he always wakes up at like 10. He'll always be up at least by 10:30, 11, because he gets fed at like 12. And then he just sits and he waits until he gets his food. He won't do anything else. Like specifically at that time of the night. I don't know why. And if we're upstairs, he is upset about it. And also at the latter half of the day, he just really wants us to be downstairs so bad. It's like his favorite place, but he doesn't want to be there alone. So we need to come down. Cat's name, is it actually just Baby Cat? Yeah, basically, yes. He's just Baby Cat, that's his name. I have a little emote you can see, it's just called Baby Cat. He does have a quote-unquote legal name, which is, I would say, equally entertaining, which is Fat Tony. That's his name, I guess. But, like, I've basically only ever called him Baby Cat. We used to call him Tiny Cat because he used to be really, really small. Which is really funny considering that he's super fucking gigantic now. But, he was the runt of the litter. He was super tiny. And then he grew up to be, like, the biggest one. And he's huge and too fucking big for his own good. My 16-pound boy, who, when we have to get him, like, oh, let's get him little accessories and things, they have to be dog accessories. They have to be for, like, French bulldogs, basically. Little Frenchies, which are, like, relatively small dogs, but that's a big cat. And sometimes, even then, they're a little too small. So, you know, we always have to overshoot just a little bit to give him wiggle room, because he's huge. So, you know. Fat Tony, Baby Cat. I have the same issue after naming my cat Little Boy. Look, these things just come about their true name, and that's their name forever. Like, you give them a name, and rarely does that name stick. It's always some, like, derivative of the name, or something, or just some weird shit you start calling your animal. That's just how it goes. So he's just Baby Cat, because he's got the eyes of an infant, like the huge dinner plate eyes of a little weirdo, and he looks like a baby, always. Oh, also, fun fact, since we're on the first floor, and we also got our air conditioning replaced, and so it, like, functions, thank Christ, it's super cold down here, because it doesn't have to go all the way up. And I'm living. Dude, I'm living in the freezer I've always wanted. Like, I get to comfortably sit here with a little blankie on my lap, because I want to get in the blankies. I want to get all snuggly cozy, but I can't. If it's anywhere, like, close to just 70 degrees, I'm gonna overheat and die. And now I get to sit down here and go, ooh, it's nice and, like, comfortably chilly, and then I get to have a cushy little blankie on my lap, and I'm not overheating to death. I don't need it to stay warm, I just get to be comfy, you know? I just get to be cozy in the little Keyblade blankie. Yeah, I love cold rooms. I also love cold rooms. I really am just, I am so warm all the time. It was like being a problem. We were at a little... Let's see, when's the last time I streamed? I did, okay, I mean, I remember what I did last time. I did, we were doing figure studies and stuff like that, which was good. But, when was that? Was that before? I don't remember if I said, because we did a little, like a small indie zine con, like, over a week ago. It wasn't this last weekend, it was the one before it. I think it's been a couple weeks since I streamed. We did that, which was, like, fun and neat. It was simply downtown, so that was cool. Nothing really to report, I guess, but I did, I was so fucking hot. That, like, what was it? Later, after we were, like, it was, like, kind of warm, but, like, I just wouldn't, like, my body temperature just wouldn't settle, and I was kind of almost overheating, like, the whole time. I was just uncomfortably sweaty, and it was only, like, hours and hours later that it was just, like, we were at a restaurant, and I was like, finally, I've, like, cooled down at all, and it was just like, are you kidding? You were hot this whole time? And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, I just wouldn't even out, like, all day. And I was just, like, too warm for, like, 5 hours. But then I was like, no, you really have to understand. It's like, I really am, like, a husky in the wrong climate kind of a thing. And I just need to be somewhere, like, super cold to feel normal. Well, you're one of the rare people who dreads summertime and actively looks forward to winter. No, you're not alone, because that's me. I do love warm summer nights because it's not like oppressive, and it's just kind of like, ooh, this is fun and inviting, and you can go out and do stuff, you know? That's always fun. But the actual heat of the summertime makes me want to die. And I grew up in a desert, but the thing is, it's way different being in a dry, hot climate versus a wet, hot climate. And I was in a dry as fuck hot climate, okay? It could be like 100 degrees outside and I did not care. Like, I mean, I did care a little bit, but it was like, I could survive. I was just like, ugh, this sucks. It's hot, but like, you know, versus it'll be like 80 degrees here and the humidity makes it feel like so oppressive. It sucks. My childhood has us excited for summer because free time, no school, and then as an adult, you're working, the heat is unbearable. Yep. Being from Florida did nothing for me. I am not in 60-ish degrees. I will melt. If it's under 72, I'm cold. We have the air conditioning set to 69 right now. Because we have to hit a middle ground. We have 3 floors. And if the temperature is at 70, it's several degrees higher one floor, like on the top floor. So we like have to set it kind of low, but for me, this is fantastic. I'm down here and I'm just like, my hands are still like so warm. I produce so much body heat. It's insane. It's so much. When I met Shannon in person, Shannon was like, whoa, you are really like, your hands are so warm. And I was like, I wasn't lying. I was not lying. It's so just like, I'll put my hand on your back and you will feel it for a long time. The thing about being cold is that warming up is relatively comfy. Get a blanket, sit near a fire. Yeah, exactly. When you're hot, like, what are you gonna fucking do? What do you do at that point? Like, you can go swim, I guess? You could, I don't know. I just feel like there's so much you can do to, like, handle the cold if it is cold. But my hands are very warm. Yeah, I know I've said this like a million times. I can't stress enough how much, like, I can feel the heat coming off of my hands when I'm like talking and doing stuff. I'm talking about this and my hands, a little sweaty because I left them on my table a little too long and then it leaves like hand marks. If I get sort of warm, my glasses fog up. Like, I canary. Anyway, yes, here we are in the new room. Oh no. Riku, he fell over. Anyway, there's stuff in the new room. I still have to put a lot of shit on the walls. I've got a lot of posters and things that I haven't been able to put up yet. Or maybe I could have. I was doing other stuff though. But also, here's the fun fact. So the stream seems to be going great. Fine. I have not seen a single dip. I've gotten no alerts, nothing, because I am on Wi-Fi now. What's this fucking bug? Excuse me. Got him. I got the bastard. Anyway. Hi, Ket. Ket, look at what I have with me. Anyway. What was I saying? I've got Wanky. What the fuck was I talking about before I got distracted by a bug and then I killed it? Setting stuff up in the room. I haven't been able to put stuff on the walls. I've been busy doing other things. Stream. The stream. Okay, so I'm on Wi-Fi now. I'm on Wi-Fi. So, I had to get a Wi-Fi card. And I don't remember if I said this before. But, so I got a Wi-Fi card, which also includes Bluetooth. And before I was just using a little nubbin thing for my Bluetooth connection. I got a Big Dickin Wi-Fi card. As it was described, Big Dickin Wi-Fi card. And after I got it installed and I turned it on and I had to reconnect my headset, immediately the list of things I could connect to was like the whole fucking neighborhood. It was like every Bluetooth-able device within like a 3-street fucking radius. And I was like, oh Oh my god. Okay, well, I don't think the connection is going to be an issue. But as I moved down here, I found, yeah, within the tri-state area, as I moved down here, I was like, is my internet, like, faster? Because I just feel like things are loading in all at once in a way it did not before, which is like, we have really good internet, but you have to understand that you could have the best internet ever, and if you have old shit that doesn't know how to handle it, then all you can do is handle, you're gonna get only the max of what your hardware is capable of. There are a lot of different factors. You can pump as much high-speed internet into your stuff as much as you want, but if it's not equipped to handle it, or the things in between are not equipped to deliver it, there's just the weakest link in the chain is going to define your internet experience here. And I think what was happening was that my Ethernet cable I was using, while it wasn't necessarily a bad one, it was, at this point, significantly older. I've been in this house for like 9 years, and I got it new, like, relatively early on. So it's been a while. And so I think that even though the internet was really good, I'm getting capped out with, like, I'm getting capped out with, like, the Ethernet cable I was using, basically. It could only do so much, right? But my computer is, all these parts are very new, very powerful, and then also this Wi-Fi card is now just like, oh yeah, let's just take all of it in. Just all of it. So even though it's Wi-Fi, which is more unstable than just a direct connection with an Ethernet cable, it is way more capable of actually doing shit than my Ethernet cable was, so I think the stream is going to be better now that I'm down here, which is funny, but, yeah, anyway, that's that, I guess, because I simply noticed that when I turned stream on, it, like, because I have Twitch up over here, right, my little back end stuff where I can change things, and it popped up, like, way faster than it usually did, which I think means that there is less latency in the stream between when you guys say something and then when you see me respond to it. So that's cool. It wasn't so bad before, but I think it will be even better now. I don't know if anybody's noticed an increased speed or something like that, but as in, like, me getting to or replying. I actually haven't been reading chat that much. Like, I go back, so it doesn't really fucking matter, but I guess you can usually tell. I guess you can usually tell when, by the time you type something in and by the time it shows up on the screen. That's probably a better way to measure it, but... Anyway. Oh, so here's another thing. Here was another update thing that I talked about. I said I was gonna have those little, like, arms so I can move the screens around. I don't have those anymore because, to use it on my computer, or, like, on one of my monitors, I would need, like, a whole adapter for it, and I did not care to try and make that shit work. But I did get a new monitor out of it, and it's nice, so... A win regardless? How long is this? I mean, I love to hear it, but, like, it's very long. It's long and oppressive, and I love the song, but I'm not gonna listen to it the whole time while I'm just trying to talk about fucking Wi-Fi. Not exciting. Oh! You know what is exciting? This cute pen. Look at this guy. You wanna see something cool? Oh my god, he lights up. It's a pen with a little astronaut on it that I got at the grocery store. It's actually a pretty nice pen. I was surprised for, like, a cheap little whatever. Well, it wasn't that cheap. It's a pen, you know? It was like $2 something. But I was surprised at how, like, fluid. It's very, like, a little fine point little guy. It's not like a ballpoint pen or anything. I did scribble on some paper, and it dried pretty quickly, but my smudge test, it smudged very bad. But if I just let it dry for a couple moments, then it's fine. But anyway, it's very cute. I was so taken, because he has a little star on his helmet. Look at that. Look at how cute that is. It's so sweet. There was another one that it was like, instead of blue, it was orange. And while I am very, very partial to orange as like my other favorite color, you know, green, obviously, orange comes like second. And then blue is pretty close in there, actually. I really like blue. But like, I just thought this one looked better, so I got this one. Okay, let's see. Do I have any other updates? I'm still... Oh, I got a little kit, and I manually fixed all of the Joy-Con in my house. I took them apart. I performed surgery on a Joy-Con, and I put little, like, bits of cardboard and stuff in there, and put them back together, and now they don't drift anymore. So, you know, if you're ever gonna see me in person, and you need a Joy-Con fix, just bring it to me. Then I'll just fix it for you. It's fine. But also, my little kit was really cheap, so. No, I'm gonna talk about the new Final Fantasy. I am. I'm just talking about other stuff first. Because it's been a minute. Here's a fun announcement. I did order some new pins that I made in a day because I can only produce work under pressure. So, let me see if I can pull them up real quick. So they're going to be 2 small holographic, like, pins. Is this something that Nintendo never figured out how to fix Joy-Con drift? Well, they kind of have, but the thing is, it's like, it's a problem with, like, how it's, like, mass-produced. And I haven't had any problems with newer Joy-Con, but older ones I've had to fix. Anyway, so, let me pull these up. I guess I'll open the clip, because that one has... It's a little easier to see. Okay, well, that's fitting because it is Dream Drop. Move this over here, and then I'm gonna go here, and then there we go. Cool. Okay. Wait, can I? How's my filter? How's the blue screen gonna work? It's fine for now. At least it's just not in the way. Anyway, okay. So, let me take this away. So. This is gonna be on a holographic pin. So, it's gonna be very shiny and cool. And so I have parts that are transparent. So, the bubbles themselves. These little bubbles, like, see, this is why I have to put the gray background so you can fucking see what the fuck's going on. But the bubbles, those are transparent, so you'll see the hollow, like, through there, and also his crown. His crown is also going to be transparent. Whoop. But then also... There we go. We have him, and he's also going on a holographic, like, pin, but his is going to be, like, blue. There's, like, a regular one with some warmer colors in it, and then there's one that's more, like, cool colors. And so Riku's getting a cool colored one, and his wings are, like, kind of transparent, so that should kind of come through there, too. And then his eyes, like, his Dream Eater eyes are gonna be, like, cool, hollow. So... That's something I got. They're going to be, like, 1.5s. like inches, so they're the smaller one. I wanted them to be very small and cute. So I already have those ordered, so I'll have those. But honestly, I've just been having a lot of fun with, like, making stuff, like, lineless, I guess. It's just easy when I don't have to, like, try and make the lines perfect. Though I still like doing that. But, you know. I'm also very excited to see how they turn out. I want to see, like, how they look on the actual, like, holographic acrylic. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I really want to see. Asked how I make pins. How do you make pins? I've been considering selling art merch. Oh, okay. I can answer that, actually. So, or like charms. Honestly, there are a lot of different people and places and options and things that you can do. So I don't want you to think that this is the only place, but I think it's going to be the easiest, most approachable place to try and make things that most people use, and it's Voggrace. That's kind of the well-known one. Sometimes the quality isn't the best, sometimes it's totally fine. Like, they make a lot of, like, they have a lot of options, but their website, it's just like, hold on, I can just grab it really quick. Like, I think this will just be approachable for people. I'm gonna put the link in. Boom. There you go. So, Voggrace has sales all the time. And that's usually what motivates me to make something. So they had sales on acrylic pins. And having the sales on the acrylic pins is like just opportunistically, I'm like, you know what, I can think of something for this. And so then I zoom in and I make something. So that's what these are. They had a sale like last week, basically. And I just took the day. They usually have the sale for a couple days, but they do announce what's going on sale ahead of time. But yeah, literally you can go in here, you can buy like one of something, even just to test it for yourself, or just to make something for yourself or for a friend or something like that. But the more you buy it in bulk, the cheaper that they get. You can make standees, you can make that. That's where I made my notepads. It's where I've made like all of my charms so far, my little wooden pins that aren't exactly how I wanted them to be. I still need to remake those, but I might need to go somewhere else to make them because their cut line is just like not as close as I want it to be. Da 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 ba 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 da ba ba. But anyway, I would just take a peek here, and it's all relatively straightforward. Their customer service is also pretty responsive for what it is. And there's a lot of help online if you're kind of lost on, like, templates and stuff. Just anytime you make something, just make sure you're at least making it at 300 DPI. A really safe size for things is, like, if you just have, like, a 3-inch by 3-inch canvas at 300 DPI, that can translate to most anything. You can kind of do whatever you want at that point. So I'll just start sending my work. I've been trying more lately, so I feel like executive dysfunction would get in the way. Yeah. See, and honestly, if you already know that gets in the way, like I said, them having sales usually pressures me into getting something done. So that's why I have these pins at all. And that's also, it was literally the same. I'm seeing this from Tumblr, I didn't know. Oh yeah, that's something new that they started doing. So anytime I just put a link in, I just put the link in, and instead of it just being like, Pikutsude on Twitch, it like actually just puts the stream. So now you can just watch me from your Tumblr dashboard. Hi Tumblr, how's it going? I was just on it earlier. Let me see. Oh, this is also, so a sale on Voggrace is also what made me make this, where it's this in the little keychain. So that's another thing that they have. They have like little lanyard strips and stuff that you can make. You can just make lanyards if you wanted. The one I was doing was you get a charm and a lanyard. So I was making, you know, a thematic matching lanyard. I just really like how these came out, and I'm very excited to see how it comes out. It's just the Goofy came out so good. What did I do? And the Donald. Honestly, the stars of the show are these two. Like, I made them and I was like, oh, I'm kind of good at this actually. I don't know. I'm feeling myself as I draw the Donald and the Goofy. I mean, I already really liked like the Sora I made. I thought it was so cute. I also have others I'm working on. Hold on. Let me, hold on. Sorry, it's gonna look a little stretched out and weird, but that's because I'm looking at my desktop. Where's my little... I was working on some others. Here you can see these were my first. Look at how small they are. Isn't these cute? I was using this as kind of like just a general like base of like, oh, this is where I'm just gonna go draw something and then I'm gonna go put it and then clean it up a little bit. So small. I want them to be like little tiny babies. Blue screen, you're bugging me. Let me... Now I'm kind of whatever. I don't care. Anyway. So here were others I was working on. As you can see, this was my first take at the Sora. Right here. I thought it just came out so cute. Oh yeah, his cape. I'd probably change this a little bit. I'm gonna like shorten him a little bit in some of the limbs. Like more like his pant legs and so on. I just want to squanch him down just a choto. And I need to fix something about this guy over here. It's not what I want. Aw, thank you. I took a shower just before stream, and then I was like, God, it's so wet, and it with like the blow dryer, just to make it so it wouldn't just sit wet on my head. But anyway, making this little Tron Sora, I think it came out so cute. What's your favorite form? Which world do you wish you'd have a unique form for? That's a really good question. And that's really hard to answer. In terms of my favorite forms. Fuck. Because a Halloween Town Sora is very obviously like a top contender for just my own personal favorites. I feel like that's really easy. Valentine Sora. Yeah, that's my favorite. How long has it been since I haven't... Oh, my icon is still Valentine. I was gonna be like, do people remember I made a Valentine Sora? And then I'm like, oh, he's still my icon on Twitter, so... But anyway, Halloween, specifically Space Paranoids Sora, like right here. I like the grid Sora just fine, and I love the look of Tron Legacy. I just am not as on about the grid specifically. But it's like, it's the fact that it's like they nailed the movie look so good that I am simply in love with it. Like, I love Space Paranoids Sora. That's why he's here. One of my most favorites, for sure. Honestly, you're kind of seeing my top picks right here. That's why they're, like, the priorities, where I was like, oh, woohoo, Halloween, the first one. And then I was drawing, like, Atlantica, and then I did Timeless River, which is another favorite. I do really love Pirate Sora, don't get me wrong. But I also really love Monster Sora. Look at this new Monster Sora I got. Look at him. Except for he's not really new. But Toppy gave him to me. And you want to see his freaky, shitty little brother? What's wrong with this one? What's not wrong with this one? He looks so cute. This monster Sora is so cute. What did they do wrong here? Why is he like this? Why does he have this weird little, like, cherub baby face? It's like the lips. Why did they define the lips so much? Why couldn't you just leave it be a little smile? What is this? Anyway, I love freak shit. I love this weirdo, dumb shit. And then just genuinely, like, this monster Sora is really super fucking cute. So they get to sit over here. Oh, actually, here's a fun... Hold on, I'm gonna move the camera back over here a little bit because it's right in front of me. It makes it easier to see everything. Anyway, I'm gonna turn this off so I can turn the camera and you guys can see it. I hope it's not too dark. God, oh God, what's happening to me? It might be too dark, we're gonna see. You should look at this shit on my wall. Look at it. I have it. The stupid thing from, also there's a squid, but that's not what I'm here. That's not what I'm here for. You guys can see I have the Sora and Riku and Mickey fucking long, what would you call it? Not tapestry, maybe tapestry? I don't know. The Soriku battle flag, exactly. I got that from Toppy too. And the banner, thank you, Jesus Christ. Scroll, whatever the fuck. The one from Target. I got that from Toppy and it was very funny because Toppy's like, okay, you're gonna have to iron it a little bit because it's like, it's a little wrinkly. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. But then Toppy was like, don't forget to iron your pride flags. And like every time I see it, I think about, don't forget to iron your pride flags. So there's your little, they sold them, yeah, they were like a Target item. Target had a lot of weirdo stuff, like for Kingdom Hearts. I stole a Target end cap that was a Kingdom Hearts 3 advertisement. And I say stole very loosely because I asked the kind employees there if I could have it because it had been sitting there for nearly a year after the game's release, hidden behind something. And I was like, can I take this? It was here like 2 weeks ago when I was here and it's still here. And they were like, well, we can't say yes. Like we can't just let you have that. But if you were to just walk out with it, nobody saw, you know, who's, you know, none the wiser. And I was like, aye, and I just walked out of the store with it. Now it's upstairs. So, stealing with consent, with a wink and a nod, you know? So, I just fucking put it in, like, it was funny because everyone with me at the time, they're like, I don't want to get caught, I don't want to get in trouble because of you, and I was like, I'll be fine. And I just put it under my arm, and I just walked out of the store, and nothing happened. Throwing mad ADHD vibes. I'm glad, because I am diagnosed. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm happy I could be your hero for stealing from the Target. Stealing. But I know, I mean, I've worked retail before. I worked at least, like, I worked at a Toys R Us for a little while. I've also worked at, like, a Joann's Fabrics. And honestly, of the two, the Joann's was the worst one. But having just worked at, like, a store like that, like, we have other display stuff from the Toys R Us. Like, when Splatoon came out, we have the giant window fucking display for Splatoon. Like, the advertisement and stuff. So it's like a thick material. It's supposed to be big, and it's just in our kitchen. And, like, all the time when these things are, like, going away, people just go like, oh, there's some floaty, and I saw it go in front of the camera. People all the time would be like, oh, I want to keep this. And, like, they'll just stash it somewhere or, like, stash it in the back. Like, employees do that all the time. So when I first saw it and it was hidden away, the KH1 at the Target, I was like, okay, you know, maybe someone has, like, claimed it and they just kind of slid it behind there to come get it later, which is fine. And I respect that, you know, I'll keep off. And then it was still there, like, 2 weeks later. And that's when I asked. I was like, can I fucking have this, please? And they're just like, No. And then now I have it, so. Caught Spirit Orb on stream. Can I ask, how bad is retail? Because I've heard some bad things and it scares me because I need to get a job soon. Pretty bad. Retail sucks a dick. It kind of depends on where you work, and food jobs are probably some of the worst ones. It really depends though on where you are. Like when I was working at Toys R Us, I was doing stocking, okay? I was mostly doing stocking and I was working like night shift kind of a stuff, but sometimes I would be there during the day and like I needed to help people and yada yada. So that's fine. But I've worked other actual retail jobs. And honestly, the entitled old women at Joann's Fabrics, I hated it. But I did have quite a bit of fun working at like retail at the Lego store. Like I feel like when it's more of like a fun commodity, the easier it is. That's all I can think to. And Ollie worked at a GameStop and ended up taking home a gigantic Bowser stand. She calls her roommate now. I love that. That he was slid back there all forgotten. You took him and gave him a home. Exactly. It's not anything too exciting. It's kind of like, it's just like something that goes on an end cap. So it's not like a Sora cutout or anything, but it is still pretty big. Yeah, I think that's true. If you actually find yourself some good coworkers. If you have good coworkers, it makes that stuff a lot more sufferable. That's for sure. I did a high-end grocery store for about 6 months, got told off by an old woman because I asked if she paid for a watermelon. Yeah, it's always the old customers. It's so sad. But what was I gonna talk about before that? And then, yes, I have ADHD. I'm glad that's readily apparent. Probably how every way I, like, speak and talk and deliver sentences from my mouth. I looked at the cute KHC poster that way from a GameStop that I had previously worked at. After I left, but it was nice. Was there something else I was going to say? Because I do want to talk about Final Fantasy 16. I beat it before stream. Like, literally just earlier today. I beat it, and I cried. And I want to say, first and foremost, I really enjoyed the game. I do have criticisms, but I really, really enjoyed the game. And became very, very fond of most all of the cast. Asterisk. Most all of the cast. Nowadays, senior assisted living center basically just play games and do activities with the seniors, and it's honestly a top tier job. Yeah. Yeah, I could imagine. Oh yeah, you can ask like people for like promo stuff. But I'm not gonna go into spoilers for 16 because it's still very fresh and I want people to be able to play and do whatever they want. I know a lot of people have kind of blasted through it already, but I was doing it very in chunks because I was doing it with Gemma, who is 8 hours ahead of me, and we have to wrestle with time zones at all hours of the day. So we could only do things kind of in, you know, shifts basically. And if I wasn't doing something else or so on and so forth. So we finally got through it. And we did every single side quest. Okay, for clarification, every side quest was completed. And now the game is completed. And I feel like a lot of, like, character stuff came out of the side quest. If you are thinking about playing the game, or you've just started, I definitely recommend just do the side quests. Make sure to do those, because they have a lot of, like, almost kind of really important character stuff, I feel like. Like, stuff that could very easily go, like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just surprised that some of this stuff is left to side quests you can just opt out of. some things that I think help some characters more than others, and there is a turnaround point in the game. Well, not turnaround. Let's say there are time skips in the game, and very early in the game, you know, it's like young Clive, and it's like a tutorial, and then we jump kind of forward, and then now he's like an adult, and then you play the rest of the game as Clive's an adult. But after you were an adult, there is another turning point where there is another little time skip. And that turning point, when that happens, you can't really go do those side quests. They get locked out because there's another time skip. So I would definitely recommend, as the side quests come up, just do them. Just get them out of the way. It's fine. Some are a lot more fun than others. I wouldn't say any one of them stood out as particularly bad or like too fetch questy, I guess, in a way that ever felt too egregious. Just that, like, I don't know, if you just get them done and make sure you get these things done, it does make a lot of other things down the line, like, more meaningful, I would say. A lot of these, like I said, are, like, good character moments for characters in the cast. For one reason or another, you know. But they finally put a motion blur setting in, so yeah. I know that was something that was really offsetting to a bunch of people, because, like, they had no control over this, and, for some people, it'll hurt their eyes or cause motion sickness or so on. So they have a lot of, they literally, like, just updated that. So if that was something that was holding you back, you can go give that a shot. But I definitely recommend just do the side quests. Most of them, they don't really take any time. None of them are, like, so involved or anything. But, anyway, I don't give a shit about Jill. I'm so sorry to everybody who likes her. I wish I saw what you saw. That's probably, like, one of my biggest complaints in the game is I'm so sad I don't care about her, because I want to. It's not even that I can't say I actively dislike her. I want to like her so bad, and she has the personality of a piece of wood, and it never really gets better. And I say this having gone through the whole game, having done all the side quests. There are things that you can, like, extrapolate from. Peak shonen, sure, and the, like, this keeps happening kind of a thing. There are other women in the cast who are, like, good characters and, like, get to have personalities and stuff, even if it's, like, I would say, like, a stereotype or how, I don't know, like, it's like an archetype. Like, there are character archetypes. Jill has one moment, and it's so hard to, like, divvy up where the problem is, because it's like, yeah, she does get to be there, and she does get to be around, and she does get to do things, and she has a good, important moment for her character. But the only way I can describe it is, like, she does things, and there's like, no, there is nothing going on behind those eyes, you know what I mean? It's like, you can, like I said, you can extrapolate things from, like, how she does stuff and everything, but it is truly the, like, nice girl syndrome, where her personality is being nice and a girl. And she has really interesting stuff that's, like, going on with her, and, like, even with it, and even with the, like, potential, like, they even, like, address, like, wow, shared trauma, kind of. You get these, like, moments that belie the shallowness of her character otherwise. It's so, I don't know, it's really difficult, especially without talking about spoilers. I don't want to get into things too much. Yeah, she's kind of not complex, I guess. I feel like she has interesting things going on, and it's like, she does get to be angry, kind of. It's just, how do I describe it? Oh my god. It's so, like, I've been having trouble trying to put this together. I was literally talking about it before stream, and I was like, how am I gonna fucking parse this out on stream? Man, I need more light in here. This is not, like, I have my little light on all the way, and I do have the room light on, but it's back there. I got some light coming in from there, but I'm gonna need some, like, more light sources or something, because this is looking not so great. Time to make the PowerPoint. Yeah, because there are some people, like, there are, like, two camps, and there are people who are very, like, oh my god, I love Jill, call me Jill, I love you, you're so sexy, she's the best written, one of the best written women and characters general in Final Fantasy, and I'm like, yeah, okay, and I was just trying to give it, like, benefit of the doubt. I was like, look, I'm still going through the game. We'll see. But, like, I support women's wrongs. Well, trust me, there are women doing wrong in this game in a way that's, like, very satisfyingly, like, some of them are just, like, they're complex and they have, like, issues that are going on, and insecurities. And then there are, like, there's one woman in particular who is so evil. She's so awful. She's perfectly terrible and wrong and cruel. And a coward at the same time. And she's just, like, really good at being exactly what she needs to be. She's, like, okay, she's cartoonishly evil. I think does not properly convey that that's a very real person. Like, you will see her, you will see the things she does and the things she says, and you're like, oh no, that's so, it's so grounded in, like, a real person would do this and have these ideas. It's not just like, yeah, I'm going to be evil. Like, no, she's just like, this is her whole worldview. This is how she sees everything. And she's just, this is how she lives her life. This is the world she lives in. And it's that simple, you know, for her, it's just that simple. And so it doesn't really matter. And it's, I wouldn't say, like, umbrage, I guess, though I think she is an also believably terrible person. You know, there are some people who are just like, there are villains who are scary because you're like, I could run into this person at the grocery store. Like, this is a real person who would, like, say, like, they would use slurs at me, you know, like, this is somebody who would, like, who they're going to get into, like, the PTA and just be the worst kind of person. A believably terrible person. Like, people committing terrible things because they're just, like, they just live in their own world, you know? Yeah, sometimes people are just bad, and it's not always some complex narrative, yeah. So it's like, there are, like, other, just like my mother, haha. Well, funny you say that. Because she's a terrible mother. Anyway, she was really good. She's a character made for you to hate, and they do a really good job of that. And then there's another one who's just, like, it's like, she's cruel, but she's not strictly evil. She's just kind of caught in things and doing the best thing that she thinks that she should do, while also being very conflicted and being very vindictive, I would say. And she's very lonely. And I thought she was really interesting. So there are, like, other characters that are just like, oh, they're good. And, like, I came to enjoy literally, like, the entire cast. Even when characters came in, like, kind of late or whatever, I was like, oh, yeah, but, like, I get it. I get their thing. They're enjoyable. They kind of have their own shit going on. Cool. And it's like, Jill is with you from basically the beginning. And there was, like, a point where I was like, I just had to, like, speak up, because it's like, I was just watching, right, as we were playing through the game. And I was just like, I, like, feel bad, but, like, I don't feel anything about Jill yet. Like, I don't know her personality. I don't know. She's just kind of going along with everything. Like, her whole personality is, like, I am a nice girl, and I like Clive, and your goal is my goal. And, like, I think having a shared goal and, like, really being together on something is, like, not a bad thing. Like, I don't think that's necessarily, like, a bad thing. I just feel like they forgot to, give her her own personality while they did it. Because here's the thing, Clive is fantastic. I love Clive. He is, and I saw this be put, it was Stephanie Sterling who was writing a review about it and had, I think, reasonable criticisms about the game. But had talked about that it was just like, had basically said that Clive is probably like one of the warmest protagonists in the series in a long time. And I was like, that's a really good way to describe him, is that he's very, like, warm in a very real and empathetic way that, like, really comes across, especially if you do the side quests. Go do the side quests, because so much of it is about him helping people and bringing people together. And by golly, if he isn't so wonderful, Clive is so great. He's so sweet. And he has his own, like, flaws and complexities and stuff. I also, honestly, one of my other, like, characters I really, really liked is I really liked Gav. Like, a lot. He's just really good. Gav is really good. I like him. And there were like moments like with like anytime like Gav got emotional, like really fucking like kind of punched me in the gut like more than others. Clive and Gav's interactions have been some of my favorites in the game. Yeah, me too. I really like them. They're really good. Anyway, it's really just like, it's so unfortunate. Jill is so unfortunate because her design is really cool. She could have had cool stuff going on. And like she had interesting stuff, I would say, in a backstory. It's like somebody wrote down a character on paper with a lot of interesting points, and then when it came to actually like writing her dialogue or making her do anything, they like passed it off to somebody else and they were just filling things in. Like they were not like, I don't know. There were so many times where it was like Jill was saying something, and I think I can best describe this as literally anybody could have said this. It did not have to be Jill, and it was not any more significant that it came from her. Like, I could have believed that Gav could have said this same encouraging thing, and I would find it more believable, even. And so there are a lot of, I guess here's one spoiler, because I want to talk about the aspect of their relationship. So, but it's not really like a big thing. Anyway, that's my warning, okay? But it's not like, it's not anything that's going to take away anything. I can say that, okay? But anyway, Clive and Jill's relationship. They have, you know, several romantic scenes, and somehow, removed from context, these scenes by themselves, they're totally fine. They're like sweet, I would say even like well done scenes most of the time. It's just that like, every time we came across one, I could not bring myself to actually care. An ad playing right after I say spoiler. I guess here's my, it's like, in case you, I'm literally just talking about Jill and Clive as a thing. And if you've gotten into the game at all, they're already like, they lean into it pretty right away about them having any kind of feelings for each other. I'm not gonna go into like exactly how things play out or anything like that, but like, you know, there's like, oh, the romance is in the air, right? And I am always of the camp of just, I just want to experience a story and I just want you to convince me. That's it. Just tell your story and convince me of what's going on, the characters, the relationship, whatever. Just tell me. Just weave me a tale. And while I went in with virtually no expectations because I wasn't like crazy about 16 just from like the trailers or anything, I thought the monster fights looked kind of cool. Some of the interviews definitely gave me pause, which upon playing the game, I understood more why they would say that. And for those of you who don't remember, there was like an interview with like Yoshi P, and they basically asked if they were like, hey, are there going to be any like people of color in this game? Like, are there going to be black people in this game? And they rationalized it in a very weird way that they're like, oh, well, you know, and they said this, and they were kind of, like I said, they tried to rationalize it as like the continent and like where they live, it's like closed off from the rest of the world or whatever. And that was is there a gay couple in 16 too? There is an open, like, well, not necessarily openly within the world. It doesn't seem to come from bigotry as much as their relationship is a secret, because one of them is a prince and the other one's like his knight. And they do kiss on screen. I can tell you that straight up. They kiss on screen. The camera does pull out, but they are all over each other for a moment there. And it's very just like, oh shit, okay. And then also when you look in like the like web of like character relations and you know, like progress of the story, it does very straightforward say that it's just like, oh yeah, this guy is like so-and-so's lover, you know, his coibito, if you will. Apparently they were also childhood friends, and there were like some things that were like in the JP version that like we just didn't exactly get over here, but it's just like, yeah, they were childhood friends, and they gay and they kiss. Anyway, what was I saying before? Isn't there a gay couple? Isn't there? What was the? I was talking about the romance. And the people, oh, right, okay. Anyway, it was, they tried to rationalize they were like, oh, well, the continent, it's like closed off, you know? So, which is like, wow, that sounds like a really stupid, dumbass reason. But then like later in the interview, which kind of got overshadowed, was like, they were very specifically like, yeah, we really didn't want to, have any, like, we wanted to avoid stereotypes, is what they said. And upon playing the game, and I admittedly, this is, you know, I'm still being charitable, but like, it's, when a very large through line of the entire game is slavery, I can see why they wanted to avoid that. Because I don't think that there's an easy way to do that without, like, stepping on people's toes. Like, it's such, like, it's such a not small part of the game. It's such a, like, huge part of, like, the story that people are slaves. That I can see why they just would rather, like, they just don't want to, they're just not going to. One of my criticisms, though, is that they do, put very ambiguously brown people in a relatively Orientalist, kind of Middle Eastern town, which makes it all sound really bad. But it is just the, like, it's that, like, fantasy kind of, like, trope of, okay, and then we have the desert town, you know, and the people who live in the desert. And it's a little better off in some respects. There's always one thing I remember from watching this one video where a guy was discussing and explaining the Orientalism of Aladdin and being like, okay, this is why all of these problems. But it was this one thing that he had a really big nitpick about, and I always remembered it, so now you guys can know too, that it was like specifically where it was like so often are these like desert cities and stuff just out in the middle of fucking nowhere in like unlivable barren desert, right? Which is just not how that shit works. Like, people and civilization need water and plants and like a way to live. So these would usually like you know, towns and things crop up at like water and like an oasis and other things and like plant life. And was like even pointing to like Assassin's Creed as like a better example, because it was like, yeah, here it is, like, you know, where life is in the desert, where there's trees and plants and water and stuff. Like, that's where this, you know, this is where civilization crops up. And that's something I've just always like remembered, you know. And I will give him that, at least, that like the actual desert town in 16 is like actually at like there's plant life and an oasis and like other stuff like that, where it's not just fuck off somewhere in the desert kind of a thing. But it still, you know, falls into the trappings of just the typical like ambiguously Middle Eastern desert kind of thing. And then it's like all of them are very like I said, ambiguously brown, in that they're all relatively light-skinned, and they all sound British. Which, I guess, again, if you wanted to avoid stereotypes for a non-specific desert to peoples, that's one way to go about it, but I don't know. That was my other thing, was just, like, especially after the comments of, like, yeah, we want to avoid stereotypes. And then it was like, this still exists, though, and I was like, okay. So tired of the British default accent. Like, some of them have slightly different accents, it kind of depends, but, like, most commonly is gonna be, like, it's literally just, like, the high fantasy, like, European fantasy, you know what I mean? Like, very, you know, which technically Final Fantasy already was taking from anyway, but like it's very when they say Game of Thrones inspired, like it's very actual, but like I'm not saying that in a bad way. It just is what it is. I tend to notice a lot of Japanese media tends to be bad about Orientalist stereotypes. Yeah, it's like something that like can't seem to let go of. And like, I'm not gonna say that like it's free elsewhere, you know, but like I feel like that's a conversation that I have seen. Well, okay, I can't say that because I'm only gonna see conversations in English because I speak English, but I was gonna be like, I only see those conversations on this side of the pond, and I'm like, well, that's where I am, duh. Like, it doesn't mean anything. But that's not to say that I don't see conversations that happen on the other side of the pond, because I do follow a lot of like JP accounts and stuff, but I realize that that actually has no basis in anything. But it is also notably like Japan is just in a different situation than, say, like the United States, that has that's kind of that, let's like build on being like a melting pot of like cultures and things. So there's a lot more like common experience of just like anything that isn't, God, everything comes with like an asterisk, because it's like obviously like gentrified, like super white, like overwhelmingly white, like areas all across the United States exist at all times. But it's a little different than like what was once a very long closed island nation that's still really not great about immigration in any capacity. And their handlings of other cultures they can really fumble the bag like a lot. Worst to me is that children's British accent that Joshua has. You hear it from kids all over in ff16. Yeah. It's something that I just don't care that much. I'm like, they're doing their thing. All right, let's go. British. Woohoo. Yeah, I know the internet exists and people could do research, but that's true for literally anybody in any kind of position, you know? Like, people who are homophobic, they could be doing anything and exposing themselves. Homophobic even just by way of, like, they have not reflected, and so they do reinforce things, even if they want to be better. The information is out there and anybody could go and teach themselves. But I do think that, like, as things have more and more become a very global market, that in many respects, I think Japan, that's very sweeping, but I would say just like, you know, major media and things that we do get from Japan, large scale AAA game releases and so on and so forth, have gotten better, like significantly. You know, I think a lot of these things have improved. But I do feel like the like desert thing has been that's been really hard to like let go. So anyway, I have that criticism for 16, is that exists as it is, that I feel could, like, I don't think it exists maliciously by any means. It's just ignorance, as that often is. And something that's, I guess there are like worse things out there, but it's still something that should be like thought about. You know what I mean? But anyway, there's that, and I think Jill is a piece of wood, and it's really unfortunate because all of their romantic scenes that they have, like, removed from that context of Jill is a really boring character, are very sweet. I think they're nice little scenes. In particular, I'd say like the turning point for their relationship, that scene was very nice. I don't know. It was very just like, it was nice to just kind of have some characters talking, and it's like very intimate without being anything more than like about how they like care about each other. And I say that because they are very naked, but nothing really happens. But you gotta know that they're like totally naked. But because of that, honestly, I feel, and I guess, sorry, that's a spoiler. There's just a scene where they're fucking naked. But like the context, you're like, oh, okay. All right. We got some dark cloud in here. Anyway, so they're like actual little like romantic things. It's just like, I just feel nothing for Jill, and I wanted to so bad. And it's like, I can only describe it as like, I feel like for the first time, and this is not a reflection on the mocapping, like the actor doing mocapping, or even the voice actress, or anything like that. Not a reflection on them. It's just the culmination of like the execution of this character. But like, I'm really seeing what feels like here's like an actor, here's a character, they're putting their whole pussy into this performance. You know what I mean? They're really like, really convincing me of their feelings and like of who this character is as a person. And then there's this other person who cannot act, and that's how Jill feels. And like most of the time when I see people kind of like lobby that complaint, I feel stupid because I can't always see it, I guess. Sometimes you can really tell when somebody cannot fucking act. And I'm talking about like, usually when I see this in like big movies. I'm not gonna say like I'm watching some fucking video on YouTube and then I go, oh, so-and-so, they really can't act. Woo, because that's pretty obvious and more of an amateur scale. But usually, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I feel like they could act better than me. I don't know. I've never really tried. But like sometimes, you know, I don't always fully see it. But this is the first time where I'm like, the effect of this, the effect of like, as if somebody can't fucking act versus somebody who really can. And so I'm like, yeah, I get it. They both care about each other like a whole lot, like so much. But one of them is over here giving me nothing. And then the other one is giving me everything. Yeah, it's very noticeable. There is and it's supposed to be like such a nice moment, and it's like I said, Clive is incredible. And what's his name? Ben Starr, I think, his voice. Incredible job, right? Can deliver everything with such warmth and like love and care. And it's just so like, I never thought a smile could make me so happy. And then I can only describe it as Jill has like the Colgate smile. Like the, like, put a toothy smile app smile on. It's so like a smile that exists on one half of her face. I'm not talking like one half. I'm talking like there's a smile here, and then I don't know what's going on up here. And it's just so, like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Jill, because you have so many, like, cool things. Like, somebody really, like, thought of cool shit for you, and then the execution just totally fumbled the whole bag. Like, it's like they couldn't decide on any one thing, and she just got shaved down into no distinctive traits. How you're very respectful about your criticisms. Like, I appreciate when you do criticize, you're not crude about it. See, I understand, like, being rude or, like, really getting a good fucking, you know, rib in there is fun and funny. But, like, usually when I'm just trying to make a point, like, I just want to be like, look, I'm just looking at this as objectively as I can. We can be respectful and, like, while criticizing, and even still enjoying the media at hand. And I just think that's important. It's important to me. Like, I think a lot of people mistake having opinions for actual, like, critique. I'm looking at this because I want to see, like, a betterment of the piece. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it's the art school in me talking, but, like, a lot of people did not understand what critique meant. And it's just like, you can have your opinions and be like, I liked this thing. And just because I liked something, it doesn't mean I can't acknowledge, maybe it wasn't so good for the piece though. You know, maybe it didn't help with the cohesion of the overall story or something like that. You know, like, it's just important to be able to recognize the differences and, like, why you think this is good or why you think this worked or whatever. And that's not something everybody can do. And, like, I feel like sometimes, like, getting in, like, a jab, while funny in the moment, doesn't always, like, reflect your feelings later upon, like, reflection. I try to be a lot less harsher in my judgment, because I've been a lot harsher in the past. And then usually when I go back to look at it again, I'm like, I was really puffing myself up. I was just getting, like, frustrated over something, and then building off of that, frustrated about the other things that could have been or something, and then just being harder on something that I need to be. And that's something I've personally wanted to do less of. Harsh criticisms, they have their place. Everything has its place. I'm just saying, sometimes the thing that's really fun doesn't always actually, like, bring about anything productive. It's like, this is one of the best games, but I love hearing criticism because they're just very on point. I'm glad, because here's the thing. I think 16 fucking ruled, okay? That was really fun, and like I said, I went in with no expectations, and I came out crying on the other side. I really was crying at the end of it, and I had to even comically blow my fucking nose. You know, usually that doesn't always happen where it's, like, just full snot, where I'm like, okay, maybe I'm, like, sniffling. But I was like, you know. But it's like, even so, even with something that is, like, so great, like, sometimes there are, like, things that aren't criticisms, but, like, things that could help embolden something further, and I only have these comments because I liked it so much. And then other things are like, dude, this was bad. But that doesn't mean that the rest of it isn't good, like, on top of it. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's complex, and it's also, like, a game. It's a final product made by many people. This went through so many hands, and people don't understand all of what goes into this shit. Yeah, I can't say I cried a lot through the game, but there are some side quests that definitely really got me, and especially the end. The end was definitely really solid in that regard, so you can look forward to it. There are a lot of things about it that, like, feel both good and bad, I guess. It's bittersweet. It's kind of a bittersweet ending without giving anything away. There's nice stuff to it, and then, you know, there's also some not so nice stuff, but, like, it's just good. It's effective. And I did cry. I was trying to wait until the end to do side quests because I already got past the second time skip. Well, it's okay. I would say most of the meat is in the second time skip. But there are some like callbacks to things that you would have done if you did the side quests the first time around, which I'm sure you can understand now that you're past that second side quest, why you can't do those side quests anymore. So, you know, I need more people to understand. Not liking something doesn't automatically equal bad writing. Yeah, and also liking something doesn't mean it's good writing either. And I can't say that there's any purely objective good or bad writing, because it can mean different things to different people, and something can read and come off as really, really good for somebody for a myriad of reasons. While somebody else might be like, I think that this could be stronger if you did this, and thus I think that the writing is not so good, or even bad, you know. I have to know your thoughts on Sid. I love him. I can't go into things, obviously. But it was one of those things where it's just like you hear him speak and you're like, are you real? Are you like a real guy who sounds like this? Because, oh my god. Holy shit. Oh my god. Anyway, I adore his character. I think he was such a, like, he was like levity that was very sorely needed at that time, especially where Clive was at that point in his story. Which isn't to say that Clive was ever like bad. It's what like Clive's character needed, and like it's very interesting to watch him grow and kind of become a person again. Yeah, his banter with Clive is fantastic. Like, they're so good. Sid really carries some things like really hard. And yeah, I love Sid. Love that guy. I can't go more into it because I want people to be able to go play. But really good. Anyway, hey, yeah, he's a very silly good guy who's like, he's so good at like everything he's trying to do. You know what I mean? He's so just like, it's almost like a guy with zero flaws, but like not in a bad way, like a badly made character. Like, he's so charming, it almost makes me angry. Like, he's so wonderful. I love that guy. And there are some really good side quests about him later. That is another reason why you should definitely be doing them. So, the bisexual charm, absolutely. But, yeah, anyway, 16 is really good, and if you get the chance to be able to play it, I definitely recommend it. I just think that if you're going in and you're like, boy, is Jill gonna get better? I hate to report that I don't think so. I think she's some parts where, again, like her romance and other things with that, because there are some side quests and things too, sort of help. But again, like, there's just a lack of, like, foundation of, like, a personality for her. So, like, she just feels like, I don't know, some puppet woman. It's difficult. It's difficult. I feel in similar ways about, like, Tifa in at least 7 remake. So, because I know that, like, the execution and even, I would say, the localization can hit a little differently between the original and, you know, what we got. And I'm not saying that she's, like, a bad character. I just feel like they hadn't, or they haven't yet, like, quite found a foothold for, like, sometimes, like, where her personality can fit in with what is otherwise a cast of very strong personalities. Even Cloud, who is, like, awkward, it's very, like, distinctive. And then, like, Tifa is just, like, nice. And, like, reasonably hesitant about things. Like, I'm not saying that there isn't depth there. There are things. She's just the weaker one of the cast, which is kind of strange. And she doesn't even need a bombastic personality. She just needs to have more than I'm being nice to Cloud. I know, she's so strong and, like, wonderful in a lot of respects. But, like, I just found her incredibly boring. But I'm open. I want my mind to be changed, and it's just, like, there are some things I like that, like, it's funny given, like, how they both look, where, like, Aerith looks like, and she's like, oh, she can be a healer, and she is, like, the one in the pink dress, I suppose. She's got the long hair and a braid and, like, a bow and everything, but she's actually very kind of spicy and, like, fun and kind of a shitter, to be honest. And I love her for that. She's so fun. And then, like, Tifa, who is here with her fists and her feet and her punching and kicking and much more sporty look and stuff, but she's very much like, I feel like she's a romantic, you know. She wants to have that, like she wants to be a wife, which is fine, you know, which is like, I even like that it's just like, you know, deep down, like, she wants to be, like, swept off her feet, you know, and I think that's actually really sweet. But, like, you gotta do a little more with that. Also, I did see a video where someone was criticizing 16. They blamed Nomura for some reason, which is weird because he didn't work on 16 at all. He's not even in the credits at all. So funny. She's the best character to play, so they have to balance it out to be fair to the others. I actually really enjoyed playing as Barrett very specifically, but that's just because he is so horrendously in that, like, niche of, like, roles I like to play, which is kind of like support tanks. Like, he even, like, heals pretty all right. Like, it was just a lot of, like, it's the utility of it. And so I loved to play Barrett. It's, like, particularly. CT Fen, I think big titty fighting Sapphic. I know nothing about FF7. You're not wrong. Honestly, I found her relationship generally with Aerith so much more compelling than what was going on with Cloud. But honestly, I just loved the three of them romping around together. It was just so fun. Anyway, with the talk of Nomura being blamed for everything, I love Airty and their lesbian protector Cloud. Exactly. I also love, like, it's like lesbians and their kind of, like, grumpy cat that they adore. They love him, but, like, you know, he's not a terribly socialized cat or anything. And they're like, oh, he's so sweet. And then people come over and, like, he runs and hides under the bed or is, like, kind of aggressive, you know? She's like, oh, it's fine. He's fine. He, like, doesn't know how to interact with people. Anyway. Oh, what was funny, though, where I was just like, yeah, Jill is really reminding me with some of the problems I had with Tifa, where I think that they're both kind of boring, but Jill is even more boring. Because Jill has significantly less to work off of. And then it was just like, wow, the people who did the mocap for Cloud and Tifa are the same people who are doing the mocap for Clive and Jill. And I was like, oh, okay. It's not necessarily a point in its favor. But even then, I wouldn't say that it's, like, doing a bad job or anything like that. It's just, like, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I love that scene with, like, Cloud can carry all our stuff. He could be our pack chocobo. And they're like, hee hee, haha. And then they almost fall in the sewers. But I feel like there was another point I was going to make. I don't remember. Anyway, 16 is good. And I'll give it time, and we can discuss more in depth the story later, I suppose. But for right now, I'll just leave it so you guys can have your time. But it is good. and I rather enjoyed it. And also the music is good. I could say that one. That one's music good. Oh, here's another thing, I guess. This is not strictly a criticism. This is simply a personal nitpick. And it's something that I always it's just something I'm always taking note of. That's all. I really gotta stress that it's like, once you notice it, like, you'll have trouble not noticing it, I guess. But the amount, and this is mostly from, like, side quests and things, which I'm not reasonably going to expect people to do, like, more planned out, like, cutscenes or anything for. But it's usually when it's, like, I always notice when the scenes amount to, and then we have somebody standing, and we have a very general, like, talking animation, and they're doing this and stuff. And, like, you can have, like, the best, most, like, organic sounding dialogue in the world. But if they have to every time, they, like, end their sentence and then very unnaturally have to, like, kind of finish their animation and then turn and then run away. Like, that shit drives me insane. And it's just, like, you know how this could be fixed? Is, like, they could be saying that while they're walking away because they're, like, aye, Captain, and they're already kind of leaving, you know? But it's always just, like, it's like, yes, they're like, move, post haste, you know, and they're like, okay. You know, and like, it drives me crazy. And it's something where it's just like, again, unlike small stuff, like, I'm not gonna expect, like, they just, look, you're gonna get the pieces in there. Yeah, Oblivion NPC kind of stuff. It just bugs me. It's one of those things that's like, it's like I have to be reminded suddenly that I am playing a video game, and like that's just not what I want. It's also just like, it's something that like I said, it's a nitpick, but I'm not gonna lie that it does take some of the tension out of scenes, or even just, I don't know, the emotional resonance of whatever's going on, and then it kind of suddenly I'm like, oh right, I'm playing beep boop video games a bit, because they're standing there and they're just you know. It really gets to me after a while. I still remember when KH3 blew my mind, and I was like, wow, it looks so good with the cinematic scenes, but now when I played, I'm like, oh god, I noticed the difference so much. See, there is, like, because it's something that I also will, like, I'll see in Kingdom Hearts quite a bit, but, like, less so with the earlier games, because I think, like, there's so much that goes into Kingdom Hearts now. The fidelity is so much higher that they can't do as much with everything as they could before, because they were working more within limitations. You know, their assets and everything can only be so much, which opens up a lot of time to do everything else, which is, you know, opens the door for a very, like, a lot of attention to detail. Little things, even like little scenes will have like hand, like, done, like, animation, you know? And I say, like, by hand, I mean, because, like, they are 3D models, not hand-drawn, but they are, like, actually, like, personally animated, like, scenes and things, as opposed to just, like, and here's the model, and they go, you know? Stuff like that, where it's, like, it's so much, especially, like, you see it so much in KH1, yeah, but in KH2, they're going, like, bonkers. And, like, when you get, like, cabbage face and stuff, like, they have to cut corners, but they use it as best they can. And it's, like, yeah, sometimes it's goofy, but it never really takes away, because it's, like, he may have cabbage face, you know, just, like, PNG face. But, like, everything else that's going on around them is very, like, it's so animated all the time. And whenever they do stand around to talk, it's usually like text. And like that is like, because it's not like mixed in a way that's like, you have like these really nicely animated scenes, and then you have like scenes where it's like, okay, now it's a text box and they're just speaking, and we're like, okay, cool. Like we've shifted into a different kind of cutscene in a way that it doesn't feel super jarring when it's like fully voice acted, and then the guy's like, you know, and every time it's the turn and then the so it's just like a little different, but like they were afforded a lot of space because they were like, okay, look, the models can only look like so much and the rooms are only so much. And so there was a lot of like attention everywhere else. But now when they have everything that's like so much, there's so much more that goes into it that they can't always afford to give that kind of attention to every scene. And so you get kind of a mix of things. You can have an actual planned out and animated like scene and sequence. Like I feel like Toy Box is a really good example that Pixar even had a hand in, and I feel like you can really tell because they would like help storyboard scenes and things, and those are like the best directed scenes in the game, are the ones that they had a hand in, because it was really like, okay, we're establishing a scene and we're gonna do more than just have them come up and like expout, you know, dialogue or whatever to each other. Some animations K3 felt a little off. Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of that too was, it depends on at what point in the game you're looking, and also that they were like having to learn this engine from the ground up. So some things look really, really good, and some things are strange. So kind of the nature of the beast with like what they were working with, and I think that's something that's going to fall off like pretty starkly moving forward. Yeah, the Melody of Memory animations looked a lot better. There were like little things. I'm always like really hyper focused on like character animation. Like I want to believe that this is a person. It's like little habits and things people do. I'm always like watching and stuff. And so I'm always fucking looking. Some of the lighting seems off. That's engine stuff. That's stuff that they were struggling with from day one. But before I lose track of that point, that like even there was like this little moment that I remember. There was a little moment I remember in Melody of Memory where like when Kairi like asks Fairy Godmother something, she takes a little step forward. But it's this very, like, it's not just, like, I have stepped forward. It's kind of this little, like, it was just way more organic in terms of just, like, it was a real, like, human movement where she kind of just, like, steps in a way that's, like, not, like, perfect or graceful, you know? And it's little things like that that, like, stand out, to me. But, they honestly, like, even in Remind and a bunch of other stuff, like, a lot of these animations just, like, improved. Probably because also they were not making, like, a full fucking game's worth of animations. Do keep that in mind. You know, it's a little different. I need more light in here. I'm like, this is killing me. I'm seeing myself, and I'm like, it looks so sad. What happens if I put my flashlight on? I do have little lights I can use, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna go get them right now. But they would help. Like, I have other LEDs and stuff. Anyway, you can see a lot of, like, there are a lot more, like, natural or, like, organic little, like, executions to jokes that aren't strictly dialogue and, like, character going and I remember, because Toy Box charmed me so much, and it was one that they got to spend the most time on out of the whole game, was, and you can see it, the polish really shows, and it's like, it looks incredible, the scenes, the cutscenes, the animations look incredible, it's all fantastic, right? And it's just like, we just didn't get that quality carried over across, and I feel like it gets kind of weaker as it goes on, outside of Pirates of the Caribbean, outside of, like, that one specifically. But I remember even, like, there's a particular one where, it's the little things. And even in scenes like that, they're, like, sometimes they have it, like, I always notice when, like, Sora moves or does something with his head, and they're not doing anything with his eyes. Which isn't to say you can't have, like, a blank stare, you know? But, like, it's something where it's, like, you can tell when they're just moving, like, the model to make something go, and it's not actually them, like, looking over or something. It's just, like, they're standing there, and then they go, like that. And they're like, you know, or, like that. Really kind of unnatural, as opposed to, like, anything that's kind of just, like, ugh. Anyway, there's like a moment in Toy Box that I really, really like that's like, it's a small thing, but it's the small things that count is the thing. You can do a lot with like big grandiose motions, but it's the little, it's like, that's when you know that they're paying attention to like little stuff, right? When they do the small little like habits or like little something that could otherwise go unnoticed, but like you kind of take for granted once you see it because it feels natural. But there was just something about like when Sora gets like the laser pointed at him from Buzz, you know? And there's something where he's just like, huh, oh. Like, it's just so like not like RPG dialogue, like just goofy scene that was like directed well in a way that like got delivered in a believable way. And I don't know, Toy Box is just very starkly different from like the rest of the game. And they even did help with some storyboarding and things in in Monstropolis, Monsters Inc. But I feel like that didn't quite get to have the level of polish that Toy Box did. And so I was not like I do really like Monstropolis and I love Monster Sora, but like there are some parts where it's like I can only describe as like some things look video gamey more than others. But all that said, on the subject of 16, there were a lot of times where I can only describe it as this really looks like an MMO. And wouldn't you know, like it's one of those things where it's like you could obviously tell like this is like their wheelhouse kind of a thing because it looks like an MMO. And I guess kind of a spoiler, you do get to ride a chocobo at some point, but there's something about the speed of which it moves and there's something about the weight of like how its feet hit the ground and how the speed that it moves doesn't quite reflect. There's no real weight to when you're riding the chocobo, and it's in a way that feels like an MMO. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. It's like the way the camera pulls out, the distance at which it's sitting, the way and the rate at which you move, and how it doesn't feel super grounded is very like, yeah, like a mount. Well, I mean, it literally is. Like, you're riding on a chocobo, right? But, like, it's one of those things that's just, like, it doesn't matter where you are. You don't really feel like you're exactly there, but you are moving through it faster. Yeah, the input, well, kind of, yeah. It's like, in a sense, I wish they had pulled the camera in a bit more to make us feel more like, yeah, we are on the chocobo. Or at least angled it maybe down a little bit. Sorry, I keep fucking moving my hair because I keep seeing that it's like, feels like fuzzy. You know, I keep seeing like these strands get in the way and then I feel I have to fix them and I'm like constantly fucking with my hair. Anyway. It's hard to describe without showing it, I guess. If you do play it or you do see it, you'll probably see what I mean. But it's something that's just like, it feels just like distanced and disconnected with like whatever environment we're in. We're just kind of on a thing that makes us go faster. It doesn't feel particularly like we're on a chocobo, but it's better than running, you know? The difference between like MMO mount and like say riding a horse in Red Dead Redemption or something. Yeah, I think that's a fair, like, or even just riding a horse in fucking Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, where like, you know, you are on a horse and it controls like a horse. It feels better in 14 than 16, weirdly. That's pretty funny. I haven't played an MMO in a while, but the image comes to mind is like the visual of a big cumbersome creature that actually swivels around as quickly as the regular character. Yeah, stuff like that. Like, you want to like feel like you're on the thing. And it's like, it really is just like, and you're on a chocobo, I guess, and then you go, Kobo, and you get there a bit faster. Like, I don't feel any power or like, you are going faster, but like, it doesn't feel like much. There's not a lot of game feel there, if that makes sense. But I do really like said chocobo. She has a name. She's good. It was just a cute little thing, but like, anyway, yeah, there's like other stuff like that that's like, it's just like personal pet peeves of mine are typically, oh my goodness. Hi, Trix. Thank you for your subscription. And again, once again, for 8 months. God. Yeah, I really need to get Lightyear. This is, look, like I said, this is like a test stream, okay? I wanted to see how well everything was going, and it seems to be going great, no problem. So, hooray, but like, I definitely need to get some fucking lights in here, which I already was like, dude, it's dark in here. This light up here is like not strong enough. I need to get some like ass blasting light bulbs in there. I did actually kind of want to mention something about 16 and how there's an on-screen gay couple. It makes me think that Sariko endgame will be real even more. There's more gay stuff happening, Sariko can only care. Yeah, here's the thing is like, consider that, consider how long these things take to make, and so how long that was in production, and at what point, and like, how does that reflect like where the company is now, you know, as things only kind of just improve, and more things, like, more and more things are like enabled as like grips relax, and they get things like, wow, we got this on-screen gay couple, and they are not like, okay, well, one of them is, he's more of like a side kid, you know, he's not like vitally important so much, but I wouldn't say he's not important. He just is there to be our Koibito here, but like but like the other like character is like actually really important. Like, he gets to do a lot actually within the story, and that made me pleased as punch. Like, it's something that it wasn't just like some throwaway thing, it wasn't like a side quest. Like, main story, this guy is really important and even vital in like the final acts of the game, and also he's gay. And it's just so nice. It's just so nice. Like, I wasn't worried that they were gonna like, oops, haha, bury your gays per se, as much as like, dude, everybody be dying in this game. Like, it's death is, they are not shy about it. Like, they'll introduce some character, give them a name, and they will die like 10 minutes later. It's this, just expect that for a lot of things. And so I was like, I'm really hoping that like they don't just really needlessly kill this guy, and they did not. So I was really, which even then, I'm saying that, I'm still being completely like spoiler free for some things. Don't take, it's hard to describe. When you beat the game, you'll know. But it's just one of those things where it's like, he actually just is really important and is like a main player in things, and I just really like that. But it is something that it's just like, at least as far as queer things and like Square Enix, I think even just like the fact that they've been very vocally supportive, and they have like their mascot Mina, and it's been in such a way that like they're not seeking profit off of anything. Like, it's super easy to be like, yeah, gay people, woohoo, buy our stuff, you know? And like, sure, donate like some portion or whatever to some fucking charity and stuff, but like so often is it just like, yeah, get your pride shirt or whatever the fuck, you know, or please buy our branded like pride thing. And if they're not donating it anywhere, like fuck those guys. But like it really is just like, yeah, we just wanted to be like visibly supportive with like, here we have a designed character even. And like I think it was only like the second or third year or something that they were like, yeah, here's some merch you can buy, and like all the profits go to like such and such charity or whatever. I don't remember which one, but I hear good things about him too, like people praising him, and it's so nice. Yeah, I'm very excited to speak more on the gay one. But for right now, you know, I'll leave that to people getting to discover for themselves, so. Yeah, the art contest thing was nice too, despite the homophobe's response. Yeah, and that's unfortunately something we're just gonna have to deal with for a long time coming, but like I would much rather them have to get mad and then have to deal with it, and then whatever, they're probably gonna boycott something or get upset about it and stuff, and they can just go be mad while they increasingly run out of spaces to be bigoted in. So, I just appreciate that they did, and it's not just Happy Pride, like, they made a cute little character, you know, and it's just nice. And there was that, which is just like, that's really, how pleasant, you know, I like this. And I know that they have, like, they had, what was it? I think they were extending benefits to same-sex partners, if I remember correctly. Which was cool. Which is actually, fun fact, though criticism still warranted for a mega corporation, Disney's actually been doing that for a really long time. I found that out more recently, that it was like, even like, within like the 90s, that they had extended benefits to same-sex couples, you know, within the company without necessarily needing like proof, you know what I mean? It was just like, hey, cool. And it was just like, oh, that was actually kind of a big deal at the time. And like I said, criticism is still warranted against a mega corporation. I just think things are like, things are often, you know, gray, and these corporations are still made up of people trying to make things better for other people. And so, that's something that's important to remember. And as much as it's still, like, big corporation who it's always just like, well, yeah, Disney hates gay people, etc., etc. I mean, Disney is made up of a lot of gay people, as well as all of the conservative, like, wild fundamentalists and Christians and things, have hated Disney so much for a long time. And so, like, for these reasons, you know, or like, oh, these movies, they're trying to turn kids gay, that you can't watch Frozen because Elsa's a lesbian, you know, and then on the other side, we're like, it's not gay enough, and then it's like, they're there, and then all of, they're just gonna get mad about it anyway, you know. So, anyway, if they're already gonna get mad, then go ahead and just make it more gay. Woo. But anyway, that's just, there's your little fun fact, is that they've actually been doing that for a long time, and during the 90s was still like, you know, the AIDS crisis was not, hadn't exactly ebbed entirely, and I wouldn't say that, you know, it ever went away. It's just not the same as it was, and it's just not mass extinction. But it was definitely, I would say, a hot button topic, and they're like, yeah, anyway, here's benefits. So, what was I saying before? Oh, right. So, things to consider, obviously, gay people in 16, and they actually got to be, like, important characters, and they got an on-screen kiss, like, unambiguous, nothing was blocking the way, you know, they just got to kiss, they just pulled the camera out. But you're still seeing them do it. And then they are explicit, like, within the text, that it's like, they are lovers, you know. but obviously had been in production for a while. Sorry, I thought I heard something. I thought I heard my name for a second. I can't hear very well outside of these headphones. They're so encompassing, you know? Here, I'm gonna do something I think that might help really quick. That's better. That's a little better. It's gotten darker in here so that this works. I had to up the exposure. I should have done that a while ago. I like totally forgot. Ugh. Anyway, so we, you know, we get Mina. We also get what I think is important to remember is Final Fantasy VII and everything to do with the Honeybee Inn, and like even just their actual like interviews speaking on like wanting to make everything very like welcoming and accepting, and like anybody can have fun here at the Honeybee Inn, and just all of like the wall market and everything. And like I think, not I think, but like it is reflective because like these projects take a long time to come out, and like internally I don't think anything being gay or queer in any capacity is particularly an issue, and is only improving as we are seeing these products come out that have been in the works for all of this time. Like, it's easy to see this and think, wow, they've gotten a little better, and it's like, consider that they had gotten a little better like probably 5-6 years ago, and things are only continuing to improve behind the scenes, and we're only seeing the end product of that, basically. Still haven't played FF7, but I love watching the Honeybee Inn cutscenes. Websites put out articles advertising the first gay Disney character, and I just laughed because the first gay Disney character was Riku Kingdom Hearts in 2002. You're right. But anyway, yeah. No, I think that like it's all just like, you know, good signs, and just like nice to see it and just take it for what it is and be like, wow, oh my god, gay people in my game? They just get to be gay? Still holding out hope for Sariko Endgame, actually. Well, yeah. I mean, you're in the right place, I guess. I mean, it's not something so much as I'm like, I am just holding out hope. Ooh, I'm just like, I'm pretty sure that's just where the story is going. With things, like, things that would get in the way reasonably being an obstacle. Yeah, that's basically, you know. Gay people in Kingdom Hearts? More likely than you think. Where is Missing Link? Dude, it's fucking July. Where is it? Like, this is like walking around outside times. This is like Pokemon Go came out times, you know? This is like, you want your game where you walk around on your phone? Now's the time. I can take even a little later in the summer. That's okay too. I'm just shocked that it would be like, here's Final Fantasy VII What's Its Nut, the other one for the phone. And then they're like, that's gonna come out in the summer, and because it's gonna come out later than we promised, here's a trailer. And then we were like, oh, okay, so that must mean we're getting Missing Link sooner. And then we get like a playtest like the next month in January, and then radio silence, just absolute silence. Square Enix news event during September event. Now, will there be a new enemy type? I don't think so. I mean, not in Missing Link, at least, because so far as we've seen, it's just been, like, Heartless. In 4, though, I don't know. I kind of doubt that we'd have something entirely new, as much as maybe, like, an iteration on something we're already familiar with. Like, oh, they are Heartless, but they function differently in this world, or something like that. Hope Nomura is just like, sorry about that, and just drops it randomly on a random Thursday. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. You know how many times I actually go out and take walks just to play Goofy Kingdom Hearts game? Yeah, me too. That's the thing. And I was like banking on it. I was like, yes, this will get my ass walking. Let's go. And then it hasn't happened. Was the closed beta like really buggy or something? It already happened. It did happen. It was for iOS, and it wasn't like super buggy. It was just really, you know, it was still just kind of early in development. But a lot of things were looking really good, and I was surprised. I wasn't banking on it because usually Japan is a lot better about not leaking things versus Americans particularly, but they did. So there were like videos that came out, and because it's like you could literally only play it if you were like physically in Japan. Glad Nomura thought of you and the people who can't go out with their cell phones too. Yeah. Thought of him. I just like that he was like, I don't like to go on walks, so here's an option so you don't have to go out. I was like, wow, that's really funny because that's a very like inclusive thing to have because not everybody can go out. And that was like a big thing with Pokemon Go even, was just like, look, some people are just either homebound or like wheelchair bound or have some other like disability that kind of inhibits just going on walks for a long time. Hell, I could not go on walks because my lower back was so bad. Like it would bring me pain. Like it was really, and I'm better now. I got better, you know, we're fine. No, it still can be kind of bad sometimes. Like, it just gets so stiff and it just, like, physically hurts. Like, it's not great. But it has improved. Exercise has improved that just pretty significantly. But anyway, there's just, like, a lot of reasons why people can't fucking go on, like, long walks and do stuff. So I'm simply happy that we have options, but I would be even happier to have the game at all. So, but yeah, we had the test. Things got leaked, so there are like videos and things out there. It looks really cool. You can run around like a city. You know, there's like it plays like it's really just like, oh, a 3D action game, like for real on my phone. And granted, we live in an era where you can just play Genshin Impact on your fucking phone all day. So it's not as wild as it could be, but like it was just not the level of which people were expecting, I guess, from the new Kingdom Hearts mobile game. My phone won't survive. See, I literally like got a new phone because I wanted to be ready in time for Missing Link, so I got it for my birthday in October. And now here we are with nothing to show for it, so, you know. So how would walking and playing work? Because, like, Pokemon Go, you just catch a Pokemon Cage, it's all action. Well, you walk around on a map, and then you can engage in battles separately. So that would be something where you're like, okay, I'm gonna go in, and there's probably gonna be some, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of auto activity or thing. But it'd be something that you're like, okay, I got here, I'm doing the thing, and then you can go and do your little pew 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 battle and then move on, I suppose. But I'm enjoying my OnePlus, but I don't know how good they are. I'm gonna press 70. Oh, you guys are talking about fucking phones. I don't know shit. I have a Samsung Galaxy S22, I think, which was a pretty big leap considering my last one was a Samsung Galaxy 7. So, you know, anyway, I want that fucking game. I don't want to rush anybody, but like I'm also really, really wanting to play it. I'd love to see it. Ow. We play Katamari again? Absolutely. I still have to, like, play through it. But... except that I'll probably just watch the cutscenes. I'm so bad at doing mobile games regardless. My only hope in witnessing Missing Link when it comes out. Okay, alright, okay. I'll share the experience with everybody, but if you do play it, and there is some mode of having a party or a guild or whatever the fuck, I am expecting everybody to fill it up for me immediately. So... I'm counting on you guys to come fill the whole thing. Like, I don't know. There was a party system in Cooks, right? Easy. Do some polls. Yeah. I'll do that for you guys. Here's the thing. I'm just not easily swayed by like gacha mechanics. So we'll see. I can like sit on shit for so long and just be like, oh, okay, maybe now I'll just kind of boop boop boop, you know. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I will like obviously we'll talk about it. We can watch cutscenes. We'll discuss stuff. If you can't play it, you probably at least see it through me and my phone. That will be able to handle it like just fine. But I do just generally you know like the idea of like. If there is a party system, like there was in Cucks, or some kind of something you can get together with a bunch of people, like I said, like a guild or some shit like that, right? I think it's fun to play with everybody. And we have like corner...
I've been there for so long.
Oh.
I thought you noticed me, but we're just finishing.
No, it's like you're like perfectly out of my periphery over there.
Oh, okay, it's...
What is it? I just kept getting whiffs that kind of smelled like the Hamburg.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, oh.
Right
Okay, got it. I'll be up in just a moment. Fingers crossed for new bangers by the legend Shibamura. Yeah. Just for that photo that leaked on a Beach of the Skull background, I was like, this is running on a cell phone? Yeah. Yeah. There are like other scenes and things I've seen, but like if you can play it, let's play together. I think that would be fun. And also you can just make a stupid stacked party. Like in Cucks, because I had enough people in it and I was like active regularly and I would like get other people to be relatively active with me. We were always like placing actually really well. But it didn't have to be, like, super, like, try hard or anything. It was just like, look, it takes so little for, like, the concentrated effort of many to make a lot. So, we'll see what happens. But it will be a fun little thing to experience together, I think. I guess just see when it comes out. Because it may or may not. Because oftentimes, like, they do have to do a lot of optimization for mobile games and other things of that sort to work on less optimal phones. So that's usually taken into account in some capacity, but obviously, you know, that doesn't mean that it will work. I'm just saying, like, you might be surprised, but we'll see. We'll just see how that works out. Yeah. I hope we can rank high with the power of gay. See, that's what we were doing before, and we will do it again. And if not, you guys with me, I'm gonna fucking do it, so... And everybody has to deal with me. Hi, Tennille. It boggles my mind that people play Genshin and Fortnite on phones that runs on that. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I feel like I was gonna say something, I don't remember. Whatever, I want Missing Link. Wow. Where is it? It's summertime. I wish I had it so I could go on little walks at night or whatever. New rendition of Dearly Beloved. See, that's the one thing I'm surprised that did not get, like, leaked. is that, like, they had the full song on, like, the menu, but nobody, like, released that. Just some, like, footage of, like, the very opening cutscene, where it's kind of like a Dive to the Heart-esque, like, beginning sequence. And then, I mean, Dive to the Heart-esque, it, like, literally is, but, like, I don't know any of the context, per se, around it, or they just kind of show that beginning kind of thing, you know? Sorry, I've been hibernating away. My body is just still having a time after the move. Yeah, well, I mean, you're also, like, physically injured. You know, you're like, one part of you was already, like, desperately trying to recover, and then you had to move a bunch of shit. So, you know, it's a lot of energy being expended there. Oh, here's another thing I was gonna say. I did watch Nimona. What a pleasant movie. Like, what a nice time. Also, gay people. Love to see gay people. But also, I was just very taken by how wonderful the character animations were. Like, it was something that was just so, like, people really had fun with it, and it was so pleasing to look at. Curly hairstyles, please. One thing that we can look forward to is non-specified gender options, like not like non-gendered, like body type A, B, and C, stuff like that. Excited to see Nimona. Well, it's out there. You should definitely go watch it. It's. I feel like the pacing in places is a little rushed, or at least fast. Bare minimum, it's fast, but they're trying to cram quite a bit of kind of story beats in here. But on the whole, it was a treat. And you did finally see Spider-Verse. I'm so glad. I'm so happy for you. It's so wonderful. Such a good fucking movie that came out of suboptimal working conditions. Is it in theaters? What? Nimona or Spider-Verse? Because Spider-Verse, yes. Nimona is on Netflix. So you can just see that. Here's the question. See, usually by now, I would stop the stream and go eat dinner, and then go do other things that I need to do. Of which I don't have too many right now, I guess. And I could find things. I could be a responsible adult and do things that I should. But also, I can pause for a time and then just come back. Because it also has been a while since I've streamed, so it's kind of nice to have a catch-up, a talk, a discussion, if you will. But I'm not sure. But I will stream on Saturday, for sure. I did watch Nimona. Yeah, it was good. It was a good time. Gay people, wahoo. There were a lot of little jokes in there I didn't expect that I really liked. I definitely got quite a few goofs and gaffs. I feel like it's something that, as described by my partner, was, would I like this? Like, would I think this is the coolest shit ever if I was 14? Yes. Then it is good. Where it's like, there's a lot of stuff there that's just kind of like, well, I've seen this kind of story. I've seen blah, 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 you know, like, other than it's like a visual, like, treat and stuff. Like, I'm not, like, so, like, taken with just these characters, or, like, it's just, like, what it is, right? But, like, it was something that it's like, God, if I was 14, I would be driven insane by how much I loved it, kind of a thing. Which sounds like an insult. It is not at all. It's just, like, sometimes different stories are, like, just for different points in your life. You know what I mean? Or just, like, different, like, obviously you can make something geared for, like, a younger crowd as well, but, like, I don't think that's necessarily strictly what they were trying to do, per se. But it's just something that it's just, like, it's not a super overly complicated kind of narrative or anything, but it is well executed for what it is, and I enjoyed watching it. Yep. a lot. It's something that I'd love to like just look at, or even just do little like visual studies and stuff, because I thought that it just looks great. Playing Tui as a teen just hits different than if you're a different age playing it. Yeah, I'd say so. Like I was like 18 at least by the time I finally played Tui. And again, I had like a bunch of complaints about things that I don't even fucking remember what I was complaining about. I have no idea what I was so upset about. I don't remember, because now I'm just like, Tui's just a really good game. I do think it holds your hands in some places where it's like they make puzzles that are like not that difficult, but then they just give you the answer anyway. And you're like, oh, okay, that's fine. But otherwise, I mean, it's just like, it's a good game, and it like really utilized the DS in a way that I don't think other, like, nearly any other game really capitalized on in the same way. Yeah, Tui had puzzles. They were usually, I would say, riddles is a little closer, you know, a little like, oh boy, where did so-and-so go? We gotta go find this guy at some place, and here's a clue, and then it'd be like a math problem. That was not a difficult math problem, and I say that as somebody who hates doing math. And you're like, oh, it's here, and then they're like, oh, that's this and this, so it's here. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it kind of just takes the fun out of like trying to like, oh yeah, we gotta go find the guy, you know. It just kind of takes things away from you sometimes. X monster is going to spawn in Y area, and here's a cute riddle about the area. And then instead of you figuring it out, they're like, it's this, and then they go, and you're like, oh, okay. But that's like my one gripe, I guess, there on that front. But anyway, yeah, sometimes things just hit different at different ages, you know what I mean? Yeah, I would still say like play Tui, you know what I mean? Like, it's a good game, just play the game. It had to be easy for Beat to get as far as he did. Joking. Yeah. The pudding of their doom. God, I'm hungry, by the way, and there's food upstairs, and I need to go eat it. How long will we be doing this? 2 hours? I'm deciding on, like, if I should just end stream. Because I might. Because I like getting to eat without the pressure of having to come back, I guess. Because I'm not trying to not eat. Let me be clear. I'm just trying to decide. I guess I'll just end the stream, and I can work on some art stuff. It's true. You know, you're right. I can always start the stream again if I wanted to. That's a fair point. Okay, I'm going to end stream for now then, and I'm going to go eat some fucking food, okay? And I'm happy that this is all worked out as well as it did. The internet, the connection is fine. Everybody can see everything just fine. No real issues. No big, like, echoes, nothing like that. So, yeah. I'm excited to get this room done up more. And get, like, the curtains up and, like, just posters and shit on the wall and a bed at some point and stuff like that. And once it's more complete, I'll be happy to reveal it to you instead of just a big, empty, like, white box of a room. So, anyway, thank you for sticking around and hanging out and chatting about whatever. And I will stream on Saturday. There shouldn't be anything getting in the way. And, it'll be good. Okay? Okay. I'm gonna pause this for now. Well, I guess I'm just stopping it. I'm stopping the song. Okay. Thank you for coming, everybody. I'll see you later. Okay? Bye-bye, everyone. Goodbye. See ya. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.